Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chromebook Accessibility 2.0 Professional Development Series. This session is going to build upon and review the information that was presented in the original Chromebook Accessibility session that occurred back in June. So this session is great for people who attended that session, or if you didn't attend that session, you'll be able to learn that information as well. We're going to go ahead here and present. See, my screen gets bigger. Okay. Just a reminder that this session is being recorded so that it can be viewed by participants throughout the day. The session objectives is that the participants will familiarize themselves with the accessibility features that are available on Chromebooks so that they can support their students. You guys are, the first line of defense. You guys know your students best and what they need and what might be most helpful for them. And as I mentioned before, we're going to review and build upon the June professional development session. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Ashley Thomas, and I have been the Assistive Technology Specialist at Northampton for the past 10 years. I work collaboratively between the Special Education and Technology Department. I have my Google Certified Educator Level 1 certificate, and I also just recently became a CAMI Certified Educator. All right. Just a couple basic points I want to go over with everybody, because a lot of people always say, well, those special features, those are just for students with IEPs, or my student doesn't really need that. I just want to go over, again, students in the classroom, they learn in different ways, just as we all learn in different ways. When all students can fully participate in the learning experience in their own way, everyone benefits. The accessibility makes it easier for all students to learn side by side with their peers. It provides with options for how the students can use the technology and do their work to create pathways for learning for all students. And what's really neat is, again, once you customize the settings on the Chromebook, they're applied every time in the future for when that student logs on to any device with their account that they did the settings on. So not only does that save time, and it keeps the students focused on learning. Just a little key point to think about as we go through this session. It is our duty as educators to do whatever we can to eliminate barriers to student learning. And understanding the accessibility features available on a Chromebook is a great place to start. I don't expect everybody to become experts and remember every single accessibility feature, how to turn them on, what they do. But I'm hoping that you gain a basic understanding and kind of store some of the basics of those accessibility features, in your toolkit, and be able to pull them out when you find that it's appropriate. Just another little tidbit, accessibility tools may benefit every single student, teacher, and faculty member in a school. I know that I rely on the text-to-speech a lot. Again, if I have to read a lot of information on a computer to kind of reinforce that comprehension, I often have the computer read information to me. If I have to do a lot of writing, I find that it's very helpful to use the voice typing or dictation. So I urge you as well to try out some of these features. I believe most, if not all of you, have access to a classroom or a loaner Chromebook. So it would be great if you wanted to get that out after the session and play around with some of these features. You can log in as yourself, as your teacher account, and be able to access these features as well. Any person can do it. what I wanted to do is throughout this presentation, you'll see some of these two different symbols. And what that means is I wanted to kind of differentiate some of the features I'm going to talk about. They are available and work on multiple devices over here with the Chrome symbol. So as long as you're logged into the Google Chrome browser, you will be able to use this accessibility feature. So it's not limited to Chromebooks, but it also does work on a Chromebook. Over here with the picture of the Chromebook, this is, if you see this on a slide, it's going to mean that the built-in accessibility feature is specific to Chromebooks. Again, some of the next couple slides might just be a basic review for the individuals that were in my June session, but I kind of tried to update it a little bit. So the accessibility features, they can be easily accessed from the Systems menu. The Systems menu on a Chromebook is at the bottom. So it's going to be in the bottom right-hand corner where the student has the time on their Chromebook. What you can do, or what your students can do, I'm going to minimize this for a second. As you can see here, we have our time at the bottom corner. And if I turn this on, right now I have my accessibility person right here. Some of your students are going to have this because they've already turned it on, but if they haven't already turned it on, they can go into the settings. So they can click back down here on the time. They can go onto the settings wheel. It's going to open up the computer settings. If they go over here to advanced, click on accessibility. They'll toggle this on, and mine obviously is blue because it's already toggled on. Once they do that, their little accessibility person is going to be right here. They only have to do this once, which is nice. So I'm going to exit out of that. This is also a good spot. You know, we have some students that like to play around with their computers, you know, check different settings. If you notice a student's Chromebook is acting weird, or something just seems off, like the mouse cursor is very large or the screen is super zoomed in, this accessibility menu right here, which when I click on the person, it opens up to this. If a feature is turned on, so I'm going to just turn one on here to show you, it's going to have this green check mark. So you can always have the student go into this menu, and if something is turned on, you can try to have them turn it off just by clicking back on it, and see if that, you know, the wonkiness on the computer goes away. Okay. Give that a second to load here. All right. The current Chromebook accessibility features that are available for NASD students, there were a couple of the accessibility features that we turned off. They were causing more trouble than what they were worth at the moment. And we currently do not have a student that requires the accessibility features that we turned off. So when you go on, if you choose to play around with these features on your teacher account, you might see a couple more accessibility features on your list than the students do. But currently the ones that are available, again, Chromebox, that is a screen reader. That one I don't recommend too much. That's going to be best for your severely visually impaired and blind students. It basically reads every single thing on your screen. So that can become a little overwhelming because it's going to read, you know, your menu bar. It's going to read everything. Select to speak. That's one we're going to go over along with the rest of them on here. Dictation, the high contrast mode, full screen magnifier, docked magnifier, the large mouse cursor, mono audio, which I'm not going to really hit on, but that one is for It's good for students who have hearing difficulties. Maybe if their hearing in one ear isn't as well, you can have the audio set so that it just comes out of the one speaker, or if you have your headphones plugged in, comes out of the one side. The highlight the text caret, highlight mouse cursor, dictation, and I see I wrote high contrast mode again. The features that were turned off were the automatic clicks, highlight object with keyboard focus, and sticky keys. If in the future you have a student that has a particular need for one of these, please let us know, and we'll work with you guys for that. We're going to jump right into some of the specific features. I kind of categorized them this time by the area that it would be helpful. So the first area, helping students read and understand text. The features that I'm going to go over next, they're useful for students with, again, visual impairments, learning and processing challenges, or even students learning a new language. The first accessibility feature, again, note that it has the little picture of a Chromebook. So this one is specific to Chromebooks, and it is the select to speak. It lets the students hear the text that they choose on screen, spoken out loud, word by word, and it also visually highlights as it's reading to them. So this is going to give them a better audio and visual connection. In the world we're in today, using this can help reduce visual fatigue from increased screen time. So maybe if they've been on the computer a lot, instead of them having to sit there and look at the screen and read, they could even close their eyes and just listen to the information. The students, so on their own end as well, students can highlight teachers' written directions and listen to them as many times as they need. We have some students that, need that repetition, or, oh, I forgot what the directions were. What are they? If you have them on your screen and the student can go and select them, they can listen to them over and over again. Again, this aids in comprehension for pretty much anybody. This feature, the select to speak, it can read text from websites, accessible PDFs, Schoology, Google Docs, forms, pretty much you name it, as long as you can select the text. It doesn't read photos because, photos are just an image. And the reason I mentioned accessible PDFs, there are some PDFs that are inaccessible. They are essentially recognized as an image, and you can't highlight anything. If you run into that type of issue, I recommend you go try out Cami with your students. I'm sure I believe there's a session or two on that. If you have any questions about, using Cami to have information read to a student, you can let me know. Throughout, so you guys all have a copy or can get a copy of the slide presentation. Throughout the slide presentation, if you put it in present mode yourself, or even just in view mode, if you hover over, there are going to be certain things throughout the presentation that take you there, the hyperlinks. So for example, if you hover over something, it has the little finger pointing that you can click on and get additional information. Also, there's short little videos throughout that, again, these are ones you can share with the students, just like the directions, so that if there's a feature that they find helpful, you can share that video with them. They're short, brief, and to the point. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys. I know I showed you back in the June session, but for those who weren't in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back down to my accessibility menu. I'm going to turn on the select to speak. I'm going to show you guys how this works. We're just going to go over to our district website. I'm going to find some text here. So if you take note, when I turned that on, I got a new little circle icon down here That is my select to speak icon. I clicked on it, and now I'm going to select, and it's going to speak. I'm going to give it a second. Come on.
Northampton Area School District 2014 Lavok Avenue, Northampton, PA 18,000.
Click back on it at the bottom to stop it. Again, it gives you that nice highlighted box for the kids to focus. It also highlights the individual word. They can further adjust the voice and the rate of speech. If the students want to adjust the stuff further, what they'll do is they'll go back into settings. And when they go into accessibility, there's going to be, you know, a broader, deeper option menu for each accessibility feature. And then they would go to manage accessibility features. And again, once they do it once, they should be good to go. And that's under the select to speak settings. And then they can change their text to speech voices and rate of speed as well. Your students can have more than one accessibility feature on at a time. They can also use some of them at the same time. All right, so we'll go back to our presentation. Let's give it a second to load for us. The next thing we're going to focus on that can help your students read and understand text is the dyslexia-friendly fonts is kind of what they're called. So there's certain fonts that are available within Google Docs, Slides, Sheets, which essentially help students who are sensitive to visual crowding to improve their reading. It also can help, again, you know, staring at a screen for such an increased amount of time. Having a font that is visually friendly is very helpful for, you know, eye strain. So right here, again, there's a hyperlink that you guys or your students can go to so that they can turn these fonts on. They are the Lexan fonts. And it gives you instructions on how they can add those fonts right within Google. There's also an extension that is out there, and it's available for your students. It is called the Open Dyslexic font. Basically what this does, it allows the user to view what's on the screen in a dyslexia-friendly font. Again, similar to the Lexan font. And what that does is it literally changes everything on the screen. I'll show you guys real quick. I just have to go and turn that extension on. Let's see where it is. I thought I had it turned on. Let's see. And again, in the slides presentation, there is a link right there for the Open Dyslexic font so that your students you can share that with them and they can go ahead and just go download that. Okay, I guess I must have removed it. Let's see. So again, for time's sake, I'll skip over that. But if you guys have more information or actually want to see it happen live, I have 2 live Q&A sessions throughout the day, which at the end of the presentation, I'll give you guys those times. That's available on the EdCamp schedule. You can always pop in there and we can go over and review things. All right, let's hit present again so my screen's larger. So our next topic that I'm going to give you guys some accessibility features for are guiding students with writing challenges. While that loads, again, there are a lot of different difficulties that some students have with writing, or Again, maybe they're just faster doing it another way, or they produce higher level writing if they maybe use their voice instead of typing or handwriting. Okay. Again, guiding students with writing challenges. The first one that I know a lot of you have become familiar with over the last couple of years is voice typing. And the voice typing feature, again, this is one that as long as you're in the Chrome browser, you're able to use. This is available in Google Docs and Google Slides. The voice typing, it's helpful for students who struggle with writing, typing, or even getting their thoughts out. I know we have a bunch of students who they have these really great thoughts in their head, but for whatever it may be, whether, you know, the physical task of writing is too complicated, or, you know, they lose some of that information as they're trying to, you know, get the rest out. Voice typing lets them just speak, and it's going to type those thoughts for them. And what's nice is, again, they still have to go back and edit, make sure that the information that they said comes out accurately. So, you know, they have to go back, make sure they add periods, you know, all of that different type of stuff. So they're still able to focus on the writing process. It might just look a little differently. This can also be a new alternative note-taking option for students. I've seen a bunch of different videos of, you know, students, whether it be in the K-12 situation or in the college situation, they'll open a blank Google Doc, they'll turn on their microphone, and while their, you know, their teacher or their professor is talking, or maybe there's a video that they have to watch, literally it takes the notes for them. Now, again, it's just going to be a run-on note. So if they, you know, they'll have to go in and organize and make those notes effective for them. But it is a cool new feature. Note-taking the old way is out, new note-taking is in. The dictation accessibility feature, this one is Chromebook specific. It's the speech recognition on the Chromebooks. It enables you to use the speech to text dictation in programs where you would normally type. So pretty much anywhere where a student can type a text box, again, so whether that's the, you know, the address bar, Schoology discussion board, wherever they are where they could normally type, they can use dictation instead. Just like the voice typing, this is also helpful for those who struggle with writing, typing, or getting their thoughts out. Again, a lot of us are faster using our voice. So I'll show you guys this one. So again, I'm going to have to turn that feature on. And to do that, I'm going to go back down to my menu, accessibility, and I'm going to turn on dictation. So down here at the bottom now, I have my dictation feature. So I'm just going to go, we're going to go here. I'm going to go to, we're just going to go to regulargoogle.com. And you'll notice, again, right here, even you guys have this on your MacBooks as well. If I would just click here, Northampton Area School District. So again, a lot of us can speak way faster than we can type, so it gets us to where we need to go. If we are in, let's see, we'll go to, let's go to Schoology real quick, and I'll show you how if maybe, you know, they have to, you know, message you or answer some type of post. That's not where I wanted to go. We'll go into Schoology when it loads. Okay, we will not go into Schoology right now. And I'm sure that this is the story of your lives. You know, sometimes when you want to use something, we have a little technical glitch, but that's okay. What we'll do is we will move on. I'll show you, I'm going to backtrack to the voice typing to show you guys how this works. So voice typing, again, I'm going to say the main place that this is going to be functional for your students is going to be in Google Docs. They can also, like I mentioned, there's an option to do it in Google Slides. So all they'll need to do is go to Tools. Give that a second to load. And then voice typing. You can note right here, too, that there's a keyboard shortcut that they can use if they are faster that way. So with voice typing, it's going to bring up this little box right here. It tells you what to do. You click it, it's going to turn red. Once it turns red, it's going to start to type everything that I'm saying, exclamation point. How cool is that, question mark? Press back on the microphone when you want to, you know, take a pause. If a student is using a new feature that requires, you know, the use of a camera or a microphone, most likely they'll get a box that pops up that asks if they allow it. They're going to have to say yes. If they deny it, it's not going to work. Again, you know, you'll have to go back and see if everything that I said is what actually came out. They can also then not only use this dictation feature, but if they want to use the select to speak, they could then go back, highlight everything they wrote, give it a second.
Once it turns red, it's going to start to type everything that I'm saying. How cool is that?
So again, you can use the different features in conjunction with one another. We'll go back to our slides here. And for the sake of time, since it's taking a little bit to load when I go back into present mode, we're going to leave it on this mode. We have the on-screen keyboard. I know it drives some of you crazy. Your students get stuck. But hopefully after this, you will be able to know how to turn that on and off. The one thing that I've been asked before is there a keyboard shortcut to easily turn it off? Unfortunately, currently there isn't a keyboard shortcut to turn the on-screen keyboard on and off. It has to be done at the settings menu. But do know that it can be turned off. It's not stuck on there forever. The on-screen keyboard has a lot of different features built in with it. There is right here the little squiggly line. That's draw to type. So if your students have, again, they can do it with their touchpad as well. But if they have a touchscreen Chromebook, they can take, whether it be their finger or, you know, preferably a stylus, and draw what they essentially want typed. So again, that's also at the bottom, the handwriting to text. Same thing, tablet style, touchscreen Chromebooks, it's the easiest to use on there. Make sure that the Chrome on that Chromebook, the update is run so that it's running the most recent version. They have a mini keyboard, which is right next to the squiggly line. That makes the keyboard smaller, so maybe if they're working within something, the keyboard isn't taking up as much space. I like the on-screen keyboard for the predictive text option. You know, just like on our phones, as we start to type, it brings up a list of suggested words. So maybe we don't have to spend as much time typing out the word. We can locate what word we want, move on to the next. There's also the dictation option available right within that on-screen keyboard with our little microphone. And also, this is where the elusive Emoji Keyboard can be found. You see our little smiley face right there. So that is one of the places where students go to add emojis to, amplify their writing. So that is the on-screen keyboard. Again, this one is Chromebook specific. The next area we're going to focus on is providing access to spoken content. Closed captions is a big accessibility feature for this area. One of the ways to make the spoken content accessible for, maybe those with hearing impairments, those who have CAPD or central auditory processing, or just someone like myself, I like to have, that multi-mode of, input. So I turn on closed captions a lot of the time, just so that I have the choice to also read the words that are being said. Google Slides has this built in. This can be done, again, on any device that has the Chrome browser. You can do this, or again, your students can take, their own initiative and do this on their computer as well. If they open Google Slides, put it into present mode and turn on closed captions, it's going to display the speaker's words, as long as the microphone on the Chromebook can pick it up. It's going to do it at the bottom or the top of the screen, and it supports students who are, again, deaf, hard of hearing, English language learning. If you want more information about that, again, there's a video here. It's very easy to use. They added some extra different customization. Before, they used to only show up on the bottom of the screen. Now they can go to the top. You can have the captions in a small font, a medium font, and a large font. These captions happen in real time. So I suggest either a small or a medium font, because if you do it in a large font, they come and go quickly. So if you have it in a big font, there's only going to be a couple words on the screen at a time. If you have a student who maybe needs a little bit higher level of closed captioning, and they need, they need a transcript that they can go back and review later, I'm going to hit on that in a second. That's going to be helpful for Google Meet. Google Meet is awesome too because it has closed captions built right in. Any participant in a Google Meet can turn on the closed captions for themselves. It's live and in real time. And as I mentioned before, the captioning that's built in is live and in real time, and it goes away. Some students who have, a need to be able to go back and review kind of maybe as notes of what was said during the meeting, there is a extension, I'm going to probably say it wrong, the Tacticue extension that they can add. It basically, when it's turned on, at the end of the meeting, it will take all of those captions that it did, and it will automatically save it into a Google Doc for the students so that they can kind of go back and review what they need to review. Again, that one is something you guys can use as well. That is, you just need the Chrome browser. Something really cool that's coming in the future for kind of improved caption access. It's currently in beta testing, which means it's not out there yet for everybody. But hopefully, I believe they said it was coming in, I think, early 2021. I might be wrong on that. But the live caption, it's automatically going to generate captions for any audio or video playing in the Chrome browser. It's really cool. So all of a sudden you go to a website, if you have the live caption turned on, it's just going to, once it starts hearing that sound, it's going to pop up the captions automatically for you. So that's going to help increase the, the access for more students. So again, that is not out yet. It's coming out in the future. That is also Chrome browser specific. So again, it's not just focused on Chromebooks. So I actually went and tried it out in the beta testing mode on my MacBook, and it's pretty neat. Honestly, it freaks you out sometimes because you forget it's turned on and all of a sudden, you know, your captions just pop up on the screen. But that's definitely something to look forward to. The next area we're going to focus on are the accessibility features that enhance visual clarity. There are several accessibility features to help students be able to see their screens more easily. These features, they make the on-screen content easier to see and read with just, again, a few keystrokes or click of a mouse. They're easy to turn on and they're easy to turn off. I'm sure a bunch of you have looked over at a student's Chromebook and you're like, wow, their cursor is huge. They most likely went and turned on the increased cursor size accessibility feature. This essentially enlarges the mouse cursor for increased visibility. Helpful for young students who struggle to click precisely. Helpful for students who have motor issues or, you know, trouble locating things on a screen. I'm going to go down here and show you how to turn that on, kind of what it looks like. And again, I still have my other features turned on, which is fine. You can have as many turned on that the students need. Some might conflict with one another. So if you see the Chromebook starting to act weird and there's a bunch of features turned on, try turning one or more of them off. So we're going to scroll down our menu, and right here we have our large mouse cursor. I'm going to turn that on, and if you notice, now my cursor is much larger. So that's helpful. I'm going to turn that one back off. Another feature that has to do with the cursor is you can add a highlighted circle around it. When this feature is turned on, a red circle appears around the mouse pointer at all times. So again, this can be used in conjunction with the enlarged cursor, or if the student doesn't necessarily need the enlarged cursor, they can just turn the highlighted circle on. Scroll back down, and here's our highlight mouse cursor. So as you can see now, it's highlighted and it kind of keeps me focused. This is also a cool feature to, you know, if you're presenting something or trying to explain something to somebody, it shows, you know, where you're at. So if you did notice, if I leave my cursor in one spot, it kind of fades away. But as I'm moving to show where I am, the cursor stays highlighted red. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Scroll on down. High contrast mode is another one. This essentially inverts the colors on the screen. It's helpful for students with visual impairments, attention issues, and also for concussions. This video here kind of goes through that and explains all how it's done and, you know, what it's helpful for. I'll show you guys really quick. And I'm sure some of you have seen this before and you're just like, oh my God, what is wrong with the Chromebook? There's nothing wrong. The student just changed it. Accessibility. Okay, so you see my screen looks pretty normal now, so I'm going to turn that on. And again, it's inverting everything. So that is the high contrast mode. I'm going to turn that off. If your students need to see something maybe just a little bit bigger on their browser, this is something that also works on your computers as well in the Chrome browser. To make something bigger, all they have to do is press Control and plus, or Control Shift plus. As you see now, takes a second. It's going to increase the size of the content on my screen. You can also then do Control Shift or Control minus to make it smaller. If they've zoomed in a ton and they just want to revert it back to normal size, if they press, again, Control 0 or Control Shift 0, both work, it's going to put my browser back to 100%. On a touchscreen, it gives you the little, you can use the touch and hold. If you touch and hold on an area with 2 fingers, spread them apart to zoom in, or pinch them together to zoom out. Again, that's easier for some kids to do. Screen magnification. There are 2 different screen magnification accessibility features that are available. There's the docked magnifier. The docked magnifier is a variation of the full screen magnifier. When the docked magnifier is enabled, the top third of your screen shows a highly enlarged portion of the bottom 2/3 of your screen. I'm going to turn that on real quick to show you guys what that looks like. I'm going to turn that on. And here we are. You can see here's the second or the bottom 2/3 of my screen. But up top, you see everything as I scroll highly magnified. If you want to turn that off, again, it's super easy. You just go back down to your menu, go back to accessibility, and you can turn that off. The full screen magnifier is used to enlarge a portion of the screen for easier reading. Also can reduce screen clutter, helping students who are easily distracted focus on a specific task. I'm going to click on that one. Go again back to my accessibility menu. That's my go-to area. I'm going to turn on my full screen magnifier. This, again, my whole screen is zoomed in. You can't see your whole screen, but as you scroll around, you're able to see the information you need. So again, whole thing is zoomed in. We're going to go over here and turn this off. Full screen magnifier. Turn that back off. Everything's back to normal. This is helpful for any student who needs to have the information on their screen enlarged. Again, videos that you can share with students, parents, watch them for yourself so you can become familiar with the features. The last feature for visual clarity that I want to hit on is nightlight mode. This is kind of like maybe on your phone, the blue light filter. It essentially reduces the amount of blue light coming from the screen, helpful for students who suffer from headaches, eye fatigue. Super easy to turn on and off. This one has its own little area in the systems menu. So systems menu, we have our night light right here. So as you can see, my screen is normal. I'm going to turn it on. And my screen, again, it's not as bright. It's a little more warmer and calm. Students can turn that on as they need. Easy, click it. Again, your screen goes back to normal. I wanted to leave you guys with some additional resources. Some of these resources were available in the original session back in June, but I've added some more information along the way. There's Google Accessibility flashcards that you can print out or email or share with your students and parents. I have a Chromebook accessibility tutorials YouTube playlist. Try to put everything in one spot so you guys don't have to go back to 12 different places to try to find it. Again, everything here is linked, so you're able to click on it. My assistive technology Google site, I try to put a variety of different resources to help all learners. If you have a Twitter, I actively post things on Twitter that, again, are going to be helpful to everybody. So you can click on that, and it'll take you to my Twitter. I also linked, if you haven't watched or you want to go back and watch the recorded session from June, you can access that right here. In that session, I walk through a little bit more of the accessibility features and give a couple more examples than I did for today. Also, the slides from June, you can access those right here. And I also linked my assistive technology Wakelet. It has a collection of, bookmark resources that you guys can go check out. I try to keep it, relevant and up to date. If you guys have any questions or want to further go over stuff I covered in this session, I have 2 live sessions today. The first one will be from 10 to 11, and the second one is from 2 to 3. If you want to join me in those sessions, the Google Meet links are in the NASD EdCamp October 2020 schedule. You can pop in. I can help you go over pretty much anything we went over today, or if you have additional questions or maybe, a specific student in your mind that you're thinking, how can this feature help that student? Let me know. I want to thank you guys for joining me for today's session. I hope you have a basic understanding of some of the really awesome built-in accessibility features that are out there for your students or for yourself. Because I'm going to say about 10, not even 10 years ago, these features used to be completely separate products that cost thousands of dollars, and they were, only available to individuals who, had special needs or, went out and purchased them. Now they're available for everybody. So accessibility for all, that's a big key point for me. Don't forget to complete the attendance sheet to get credit for this session. You can click right here. There's a hyperlink where it says attendance sheet, or you can also click on my little computer monitor here that my Bitmoji is holding up. That'll take you directly to the attendance sheet that's linked for this session. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And again, I'm always available by email if you have any questions. Thank you.